Okay, that's one of the things that can go wrong. But one of the things that can go right is the modern approach to assisted reproductive technology. Now that we understand these events relatively well, the possibility of intervening to help couples to have children has been very important. And since the first test tube baby, Louise Brown, there have been very many test tube babies that have brought joy to parents in a variety of different settings. So in vitro fertilization is one of the key aspects of assisted reproductive technology. And here what happens is that egg production is stimulated hormonally in the mother, and then some eggs are harvested. They're actually removed under ultrasound guidance from the mother at stages when they're capable of being fertilized. They're placed in a dish, not actually in a test tube of course, but in a small 30mm dish filled with a rich culture medium, and then sperm from the father or from a donor is added to the dish, and fertilization can take place within that dish itself. Subsequently, the eggs are observed. They may be video recorded in a real IVF clinic, for instance, and the ones which are developing well to schedule, you might be looking at them at the 2-cell, 4-cell stage to show that they're dividing as normal as you would expect them to do, can then be returned to the uterus, and there they will have a respectable chance of implanting and development taking place as normal. Nowadays it's traditional to transfer only one egg back into the uterus. Previously more eggs were returned to the uterus, and that meant that sometimes you got twin pregnancies or even triplet pregnancies if 3 eggs were returned. And the reason that that's no longer so popular is that twin pregnancies are always just that bit more challenging than a normal single pregnancy. So the risk of something going wrong with one or indeed both the twins is greater than it is with a single pregnancy. So in the early days, as this diagram shows, then perhaps 3 embryos might have been returned, but now that's actually much less common than it was previously. In addition, you can help the process. As we'll see in the fertilization lecture, it's possible to actually inject sperm through the zona to ease their passage. Eating their way through the zona is quite a tricky task for the sperm, and it may be that some occasions of failure to conceive normally has been as a result of the sperm not being able to make its way through the zona. You could also inject the sperm directly into the egg, so it doesn't even have to cross the cell membrane of the egg. And each of those gives ways in which the whole process of fertilization can be enhanced and advanced in parents who might not otherwise be able to do that spontaneously and naturally. And you can also, at these early stages, you can screen for genetic defects and select which of the fertilized eggs will be reimplanted. So that can be a choice. An easy one, for instance, would be to identify whether the developing pre-embryo is male or female. In a family which is liable to muscular dystrophy, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, then it's passed on through boys alone. So returning female pre-embryos to the uterus would mean that you did not have a child that suffered from muscular dystrophy of that particular kind. And a recent development in the UK has been the use of 3-parent IVF, where the egg cytoplasm from one mother is combined with the nucleus from the second mother and sperm from father, and that's to avoid disorders of the mitochondria which are present in the cytoplasm. So a radical new technique to avoid some heritable defects. So let's summarize what we've looked at in this lecture. First of all, we looked at the early division stages, the cleavage stages, in which the cells are getting smaller at each subsequent cell division. And then we looked at the process of hatching from the zona pellucida. Once it's hatched from the zona pellucida, then the developing pre-embryo can implant into the uterine wall and gradually begin to eat its way under the surface. If this process takes place in the wrong place or too soon, then we can have the serious risk of an ectopic pregnancy, which can in fact be life-threatening. But the good news is that understanding these processes well, as we do now, has allowed us to develop all kinds of reproductive technologies which can bring childless couples the possibility of having natural children of their own. Thank you very much.